It's established you or die, it is in the graveyard, sometimes, I take a japa walk a little. I don't walk a japa walk where I can breathe, but sometimes, it's interesting to walk through cemeteries. It's a peaceful place. So, and in an old way, now they don't do this anymore, but in the old ways, the people used to make engravings on the stones, especially in countries like Germany, and this. Here lies the conductor of this train, and the president of this train station. It was on a grave, just graved in. There is no more train station, there is no more train, there is nothing left, just a stone. But this was monument. My samadhi is here. Everybody will admire. This was the guy who was the president of the train station where 2 trains a day passed through. Yes. In this Austrian Hungarian monarchy, which was lasting until the First World War, it was, because it was a kind of, you could call it, it was actually preliminary form of a European Union. They really had a little kingdom there over Europe. So it was powered by insane administration. It died actually. The First World War killed it all because they could never put back that kind of administration. Bureaucracy. Absolute 100% bureaucracy. Where people just moved from one office with no particular purpose and just upgraded the titles. Just the whole administration became just a huge long corridors, buildings, monstrous buildings with offices. And they were all just pushing the papers from one office to another. And this is what Prabhupada was really worried, that we are going to do that. That was the original idea, that we will unite ISKCON in the name of United Nations. We will have a real skyscraper in New York, and every yatra, including the Danish one, will have an office. And there we will very easily coordinate things. We will just walk the corridors up and down. You want to Denmark, you go in the door, Denmark. And then you go, so what's going on in Denmark? And there will be a man going, in Denmark, we distribute Srikulagov. And then, and then he goes, okay, give me a receipt, I want a report, Srikulagov, Denmark. Next office, And then it's going to be all stamps and papers and this and that, and we will have the feeling we have the whole world united. Of course, that little office and that building in New York has absolutely nothing to do with Denmark. Denmark will have its own place, maybe there will be a new program developed how to make pigs to chant Hare Krishna or something like this. But there will be nothing known about this in New York. And the officer will stand there, I'm Denmark. This is what Prabhupada was really afraid of, that we are going to do it. So he demolished the idea immediately. He said, no centralization whatsoever. Everybody on their own ground. And grow strong or weak, whatever you grow, but grow it locally. That's the whole principle of Vedic culture. Everything grown locally. From the vegetable up to the local management, everything is grown locally. And centralization, kirtan. That's the centralization. That we are totally centralized. Everybody in the kirtan, from the small child over the spaced out Mataji up to the puffed up temple president, everybody in a kirtan. That was Prabhupada, what he said, that centralization. Outside of that, no centralization. Everybody has their own department. As a matter of fact, that's the best management. When you manage somewhat decently to place people according to their qualities into individual departments and make them to work strong. And you simply coordinate, make sure that everybody is not united except in kirtan and preaching and sticks to his department. Not that you have one guy jumping out of the department going, yes. I remember I managed 15 years restaurant in Stockholm. I had people coming in who gave me a lecture about management of restaurant. I was happy. Oh really, please, can you help? Because there's always problems coming up. Yeah, I can help. In the Vedanta Sutra it is stated. And I said, well great, I can also read that, but can you help? let's say the word. And then, you go, yeah, we are trying here. Just take one example, we have to say it, not here. And you go, yes. Please, can you go again into the whole world? Bye-bye. There is this whole global world saviors, and they have one quality in common. They can do absolutely nothing. Zero. Because they are sinking the planet. Actually, even amongst the Kamis, and even Hiranyakashipu is a good example, his program was a bit bigger. It was the 3 worlds, the whole universe. Heavenly planets, Middle Earth, hellish planets, all Hiranyakashipu trademark. That's a real plan. The global. And for this we have to perform this kind of austerities, of course. But what was the result? One fingernail from Lord Nishingadev, just tearing the belly open from Hiranyakashipu, and that's it. So one finger from Nishingadev, Hiranyakashipu finished. So devotees know that. Therefore one should not sink globally in that regard. Let the global being global. But let's focus on something nice locally. That we can do. We know. Lord Chaitanya says even so local, he says, there where you are, that's where you were born, that's the mentality you know best. Become a preacher and even a guru. That's really local. Don't go out there, let's the whole universe come. Really, what will you do with the whole universe? You cannot manage it in your own shoes. So just start with the shoes, start with the local, do something nice. Krishna will recognize that and then make it bigger. He will make it bigger, not us. And this is what Prabhupada did. It was amazing how Prabhupada, when you came close to him, he was quite simple, He was very careful with his personal things. He put the pants in the morning when, they brought him even ideas how to enlarge his management, even via something called a telephone. Prabhupada said, I don't need telephone. I need a ticket. Travel. That I use. But telephone, what should I do with the telephone? Hello, how are you? Good. So you can imagine how Prabhupada spread this movement via handwritten letters almost. And no phone. What to speak of something called internet? Didn't exist. And now we have the internet growing, and there are so many communication lines, and who is joining? Nobody, because everybody's going. Joining being defined as something coming and doing something tangible to spread Krishna consciousness. Tangible? That's easy, according to Prabhupada's rules to define. You cook something and distribute it. It's called prasada. And you publish a book and distribute it. It's called book distribution sankirtan. And you grab some instrument, or even without instrument. Prabhupada said, we have a tongue and 2 hands. You go on the street and chant the holy name. That's called Harinam Sankirtan. So there's so much to do already there. And everything else evolves from that. So ultimately, the question is always, great, global, blah, 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 but who is going to do it? And there is really established in the Kami society, no, that's not my department, I'm not doing anything. I'm just pushing scenarios and papers. They do that. They have companies even for that. They don't produce anything. And actually there is people who actually get this kind of doubts. They say, actually my whole life I didn't produce anything. I just work with things that other people produced, and I just make money out of it, and I speculate, I push papers around, that's called Wall Street, just throwing papers and counting numbers, but I don't produce anything with it. And that's a pleasure which is actually a pleasure of a Shudra. Shudra likes to produce, he really loves that. I get this book, it's standing here, I did it. There's a taste in it, which is absolutely bona fide. It's completely encouraged in Vedic culture. Everybody is encouraged according to their quality to be contribution, to give something which he can do, something tangible. And it's not small. It's the beauty of Prabhupada, how much he could appreciate even the smallest service. A flower being picked for Krishna. I mean, you don't buy much brains to pick flowers. Prabhupada had such an appreciation for that. When devotees did sometimes these kind of small services, there was nothing small in the eyes of Srila Prabhupada. It was so encouraging to be with him because you felt, finally I can have some use. And Prabhupada really appreciated you have a use. So to apply oneself in Krishna consciousness, that's the real austerity. But for this we need spiritual guidance. Because we have an idea how we could apply ourselves. But that idea may not be even bad, but just to be coordinated. And therefore spiritual authority is absolutely essential. Somebody who can verify our idea and make it useful. So this was always the worry, but even newspaper reporters asked Prabhupada, what will happen when you leave? Prabhupada had a funny way to deal with that. He said, no, Krishna will help. And then what he didn't say so clearly was that Krishna will help those who allow him to be helped. Krishna is in the heart. He will help. Provided we stick to Krishna. Prabhupada make it very simple. The austerity is very simply defined. Just give up the idea of I will do that. I want to do that. I want. No. Pray to Krishna that please apply me. Somebody use me. As Prabhupada writes in this prayer, right in America, make me dance like a puppet. And to become a perfect puppet for Krishna means that there is a perfect room to be really ourselves. That's called really ourselves. So we get these boys coming around, It's catastrophic when you see this. How they are spinning around completely on a mental platform, trying to define their own world. All the time. Puberty especially. So that's a time where you do things like this. You kind of define your own world and this helplessly spinning around on a mental platform. It's catastrophic to see this. It's the best time of the life, more or less, when you are young, you have a fresh body, fresh senses, you can do things, and then you spin around, in some dream world. So that's the loss of culture, that's what we are trying to contradict. It's not an easy thing to do. Because people are, that's what Prabhupada called ultimately a rascal. They are rascals. They know that this independence doesn't do any good for me, but they are not willing to give it up. So actually the ultimate and only acceptable austerity for devotees is to become actually harmoniously Krishnaized. Prabhupada called the word Krishnaized. That means to come in tune. That's actually the ultimate thing. Like we will meet in our upcoming esoteric, event. All rascals, all of them, that I can say already now. Total rascals. Because I have this idea about spiritual, and I have that idea about spiritual. Who said so? Well, I have my guru. I saw a picture. My guru. So okay, it's your guru, yeah. Where's the parampara? Who was his guru? Now, he was living in a cave. He came out of the cave completely illuminated. Because there's so much light in a cave, Yeah, so he came completely illuminated. He was very austere. I have a picture I can show you. He had just a gamsha. And he was sitting in a cave. Then he came out and he realized, I'm God. I'm looking forward to this enjoyable event to meet all the little Danish gods. There's different versions of that. In Slavian culture it's extremely popular. Astrology, tarot cards, it all flies. There's practically horoscopes. Making horoscopes is part of the daily news on TV. It's very, very popular. Russia even was. Even the communists, each single communist had the Tsar that started with the king, he had Rasputin. And that evil guy, who had some mystic power, he could control the whole royal family. And then the communist leaders were not much better. It was unofficial, of course. There was one woman who controlled Mr. Brezhnev and Mr. Khrushchev, and they didn't make one decision without her approval. They had horoscopes and all the times. Nazis, the same thing. They were completely into the occult things. Just researching the Vedas and all Hiranyakashipu, what can we get out of it to become the master of the universe? Oh, what a nice idea. So this is, demons are like that. They can be very austere, extremely austere. That's a dangerous type. The hedonistic demons, they are just a joke. And you know it from Sankirtan, you go out, people with a beer can going, I don't think there is God. It's even possible to preach to them sometimes. Because they are so stupid, they cannot even oppose. They just think there is no God. I didn't know him. Yeah, well, because you are looking in a beer can all the time, you cannot see anything. Because when you drink beer, you see always the beer can. So you don't see anything. That's the simple type. But it's austere ones. They are dangerous. Because they get power. That power comes from austerity. And that power is utilized for demonic purposes. So that's a dangerous type. They torment devotees and they give lots of hard time to devotees, and that's what ultimately Lord Nishinga has to be himself to clear it out. So we should understand the value of austerity. It's not that difficult. Prabhupada gave us such a nice and pleasant and simple austerity. But out of habit we invent our own austerities, our own... Actually that's the kind of devotees I saw getting in trouble most. Those who invent their own austerities. Those who invent their own sense gratification, that's kind of easy deal. that takes care of itself. I am in love. Well, good luck. I am in love and I want to follow my senses. Well, good luck. That's going to be a really easy story. But those who are austere, those who are actually insisting on their own version of austerity, that's the one who get in trouble most. And practically spoken can not be rectified. A hedonistic person can be rectified because he's meeting so much frustration down the road. Oh, I loved her, but she hates me. Oh, yeah, great. But the one who is austere and austerity like that, it's very difficult to rectify. Okay, Jai, some comments to this?
Maybe you have some personal examples, or maybe from Shastra, like is someone who's austere, in this dangerous way.
They were going up to Himalaya doing their thing. And yogis, generally yogis. These three times kolonasta means there is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way, and that means no karmic work, hard work will liberate us from this world, no empiric research, esoteric speculation, and no yogic power, no yoga, not that kind of style. That doesn't work in karma, especially not in karma. I did this story. What was the name of this yogi? He created his own universe. Competed with Indra. It was a king approaching him. Please, can you bring me in this body to heaven?
Yeah, Vishwamitra.
Huh?
That was Vishwamitra.
Yeah. Ended up throwing, ultimately he got so fed up because Lord Indra didn't permit. So whatever was sent to heavenly planets, he bounced off. So finally, Vishwamitra took even the spoon, he offered the ghee, and he said, see my mystic power? I can send even the spoon to heavenly planets. And then Indra had the spoon flying in. And he got fed up, he took the thunderbolt and struck the spoon, and the spoon was flying back. And Vishwamitra was chanting another mantra, and they were playing ping pong with the spoon. finally he was so frustrated. Okay, if the Indra is so stubborn and doesn't allow anybody to go in this way to heavenly planets, I will create my own heavenly planets. And he did. The problem is by that kind of process you exhaust your mystical, yogic credit. You draw from that until there's sometimes nothing left. But what happens to him? He created a imitation, copy of heavenly planets. It's one of the mystic powers. You can create a planet, and you can also destroy it. But he could not sustain it, and that's the problem. So he ended up desperately praying to Lord Vishnu, please come, there's a whole heavenly planet system coming down on us. That's called really a cosmic disaster. And Lord Narayana was actually very humorous. He was like, what? I didn't create that. That's not my creation. And he said, yeah, I know. That's my creation, I know, but it's coming down. Really? How did that happen? Well, you have the function to sustain it. I said, can you please sustain it? So finally, because he was so desperate and he was so devotional, it was sustained. I heard there is a copy of Heavenly Planets. And mercifully kept that by Lord Vishnu, since you struggled so highly, we will keep it there. That's another category of austerities. So it can be very destructive, very dangerous. Austere people are very dangerous.
I've seen, and just so I think of it kind of when I look at, for instance, Sangha devotees deviating from their service and like that. It's it seems it's a balance. There's some who get into like sense gratification, they steer off, and also seen others they just get into austerity and like that. And they all, it's a really one.
Especially the Nordic thing is very dangerous.
Yeah.
It's a kind of place we are living now here in, which is, therefore I'm talking about this a lot, because I would not talk like this more in the south part or Slavian part, because there's no need. There the life is so hedonistic that it's like, amore, oh. You go to South America, it's like, bambino, baby, so the whole thing goes in that direction. It's just totally sentimental. But here, it's dangerous. Therefore, Mr. Hilbert was fascinated with the Nordic race. The naked man standing on a rock. They have statues. Oslo is full of this kind of stuff. They have these deities in Oslo, No bliss, no smile, austere.
Do you have in other countries we have those who go and knock holes in the ice in the winter and take bath? Is that found in any other place?
The Russians do that. But this is considered like, Russian people are also very heavy into austerities. But this is a kind of result of their karma, because they were tormented, for thousands or hundreds and thousands. Even the Mongolese people came but this is imposed upon them. Essentially, it doesn't come from the heart. You could call me now people will say, now he starts to speculate. If I would call Russians childish yogis, they have a heart of a child. But because it was imposed by the karma, the coldness and this vast areas and always some demons coming out tormenting these people, all the time. The Russian history is this one big misery, the whole thing. But in that misery, they created their miniature world. Like Russian people, they are very, very artistic in a detail, I have a picture, at home of Srila Prabhupada, this big. Actually, I have it here. It's this big. It's hand painted on a piece of wood, this big. And it's perfect oil painting. I don't know what kind of Russia. I came to Russia and just the paintings, you go, wow. I know a little bit something on the art, so I was like, that's professional. That's not this kind of Hare Krishna art, you know. You have a Krishna, huge Narayana, and he has a hand like a mentally retarded, you know, like this syndrome, Down syndrome people just... Some of these pictures sound insulting. If you know something about art, you know, like example in the art, it's a rule, right? The hand is as big as the face, okay? Please color the whole face. But we have illustrations in Bhagavatam, you have just leaves. I know the artists. I know most of the artists who are painting. I was obsessed with leaves. The whole picture just leaves, and there's a little Krishna in the corner. You know, or Krishna has, you know, he's a hand like a baby and a face like a grown-up man. It doesn't, artistic, it doesn't make sense. It's completely unprofessional. You come to Russia, you say, who painted this? I don't know. Some Bhakta Ivan from Ural. I don't know, he just bought the painting. They're incredibly in detail and they are so romantic. But outside, it's just hell. That's all. Russia means hell. You know. And they are in that hell. They can just go to the balalaika, you know, and they are just so and they like, it's imposed upon them externally. Here it comes from the heart. Nobody forced Mr. Amundsen to march to North Pole. That was his decision. I will do it. Nobody forced Mr. What is his name? Another Norwegian character, sailing on a piece of wood to South America.
Heide.
Antique.
Yeah, Kontiki.
Thor Heide.
Thor Heide. Oh, museum.
I did it my way, I sailed over there.
And Norway is full of this kind of characters, you know. They have even a guy from the not so long time ago who said, I will commit the biggest politically motivated mass murder of the century. And he did that. Killed a whole island full of children. Perfectly prepared. He studied it for many years. He scheduled it. That's the like Yankaship was ready to kill his own son. That's the kind of dangerous people. I know it from Norwegian preachers. They said, you have no idea what's going on in these fjords and these things. Oh, Christian. They have secret societies and cooking something up. And then the language, it's like a child. It's like Hitler speaking, Balinese. But inside is just, this is what's so scary to preach here, because it comes from the heart. Russian people use scratch on the surface, and then, then comes the balalaika man, But here it's, you scratch on the surface, wow. You scratch more, wow. Denmark is not. That's the outsiders. That's the outskirts. Here in Denmark, it's almost Russian sometimes.